can't remember if I called you or you called me, but we had breakfast
Right, at the Honey Bear.
at the Honey Bear, and we expressed our admiration for prayer.
Right, because I had just gotten a new draft, I think, from Josh, and you had just seen it at the MTC production.
That's right, the
Right.
first production, because Cromer suggested I see it. I think Northlight was the right place to produce it. You had done Bad Jews here.
Right, yes, we had moved Bad Jews up here after it had played for, 15 weeks or something, and we ran out of space at our theater, and we moved it up here, and we were able to slip it in right between, I think, your show and some sort of benefit that was happening in the room, and then we moved it to Royal George, so that show ran for almost 6 months.
And which is how many plays of Joshua Harmon's have you done?
We've done all his work here in Chicago. There's only one Joshua Harmon play we haven't produced yet, and then the one he just opened 3 days ago we have not yet produced. But yeah, so we started with Bad Jews, and we also did Admissions, which we were the second theater to do Admissions. And interestingly, I was the first theater, or the second theater to offer to do Bad Jews, because he was a former student of my wife's at Northwestern in the playwriting program. So when he had sent her a copy of the script, and when I read it, I called him up. I was like, well, I almost never do this, but I will do this play. I love this play. And he said, this is amazing. I'm so excited. But there's going to be a small production in this basement here in New York, which I just said yes to last week. But would you like to do it second, right after that one? I said, absolutely. The basement he was referring to was the Underground at Roundabout, which then transferred to Broadway. And then it was like a year and a half before it was available. But so I've been with his plays from the very beginning.
Yeah, one of the things you said in your first remarks around the table was first day of rehearsal was that at its base it's a play about family.
Yes, so this is the thing. Josh has this incredible kind of social anxiety point, but he always sets up his plays. They're always built off of family relationships. It's the thing he writes really well, and it's the thing that I think we like to see. No matter where you're coming to and how you're coming at the topics that Josh is talking about, we're all coming from the basis of these families, and it's always this central structure in his work, and this play is no exception. So we have in this case it's a French family. We see them over in two different time periods, 5 generations worth, and you just get this kind of the thing that is fun about his plays is watching those family dynamics play out against these other social anxieties. Those are the kind of fuel, but the thing that is lit is the family interactions and tensions and passions that all exist there. And he's really genuinely astonishing at writing those details. I mean, I think he's so sharp and observant.
Yeah, Thanksgiving must be very interesting in his
yes,
family.
Yes, I am very curious.
Because we all write what we know.
Yes, exactly. I'm still trying to angle for that invitation, but I think his most recent play is actually his most autobiographical, the one that just opened, which he just sent me, so I'm very excited to see what that is, because, what is Josh's family like? I want to know.
So the play takes place in 2017, and a lot has happened since 2017, but the play really isn't about that. It's about the family in 2017 and its past.
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
Oh, yeah. So one of the things that I talked to Josh, so he sent me the play in 2017, and I got another draft in 2018, and about 2 weeks after I got the draft, the Tree of Life Synagogue shooting happened. And I called him up, and I was like, so I guess I'm curious, Josh, as you're kind of moving toward this opening, we don't know exactly when it is. Do you keep updating? Are you going to keep updating the play so it feels more and more contemporary with each, when you finally get to open it? And he said, no. In fact, the issue here is that tragically, anti-Semitism is evergreen as a dramatic source. So I don't have to update it. I'm happy with where it's set and where it's going, and I don't think I have to incorporate every single event just because it'll be opening at the time, 2019, which didn't happen for pandemic reasons. And he kept that. So in between the first production at MTC and then the Broadway remount, the October 7th happened and the subsequent invasion of Gaza. And we we're talking about it, and I said, does this overpower the play? And he says, no, because the play is still about this period in the family, and he thought about updating it, but it took over the play. It was too much. And I think that's really, really...
And evolving.
Yes.
Too hard to keep it.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden it's ripped from the headlines, which was not his intention in the play at all.
Right. Which I think is perfect. We're not trying to have this play be ripped from the headlines. The headlines today are moving pretty fast. I really feel that history is moving at a very rapid clip now, a little past our ability to respond in this particular art form, which requires a lot of thought and perspective and compassion. So when we spoke to the cast about contemporary events and how this was reflected through the play, and the mirror that we're seeing the play and the events of the play, and what do we think about the claims of anti-Semitism and Judaism and the question of displaced people, which is all kind of part and parcel with the political conversation that this play has. I said, you know what? Here's the thing. The audience brings contemporary events with them into the room. It's not our job to change the play or weight the play specially different because something that happened on Thursday. The audience was there on Thursday, and they're here now. They bring the present with them. So the play still interacts with the present always. We have to be aware of that, but we don't change the essential personal and the specifics of the play and the family dynamics of the play to try to match a particular thing that's being said. Which I did notice. There is a line in the play where one of the characters says he wants to go to Israel to be safe. And when I saw the show in New York after October 7th, there was this deep, cynical laugh that rolled through the theater, which was not there in the 2022 production.
Because that's the one I saw first.
And that was really kind of effective because it does not derail the play, but it does change the dynamics and it puts the play in this kind of exciting conversation. This is a pivotal moment, I think, in history for our audience because of what's happening around the world and specifically also in this country. And so those table stakes the audience brings, they bring them. They're betting them. That's the start of everything, and the play is going to activate those things. Because
day by day,
and those lines will change now. Yeah. Yes, that is exactly the thing.
There's an American character in the play who is visiting and staying on the weekends on the couch of this family, and it's an interesting device. It's both humorous and ironic and funny, but it's also an opportunity for our audiences. It's sort of our entry point into the play from our point of view, as opposed to the worldview of the French Jew
right,
and the Jewish family in 1944. So talk about that device, because I think it's fascinating. I was so delighted at the first read-through because there were so many, I think, laughs of irony and humor out of that character that I didn't actually feel in New York, and it seems to be happening now. I talk about that character, the device of that character, and the personality of that character.
So Molly is from a branch of the family that had moved to America long ago. So they have light connections. It's been about 70 years since they've been in France, but they've kept a connection with the French family slightly. And she's come to France for a year abroad, and then she's been set with a family in Nantes, which is about 2 hours outside of Paris, and she's having some problems with that family because, as she says, it's not that they're racist, but they're not racist. And so she is complaining to her mom, who suggests to go visit the family that she has where she does. And so she has this kind of entree into not just this kind of family life, but also Paris, which she doesn't get
Romantic.
Yes, I mean Paris is legit an amazing city, and so one of the things that is delightful is so she acts as a kind of American interlocutor for the audience into this space, but also her relationship to Judaism and current events, current for the play, but they ripple forward because we're in this weird time loop now where things that have happened have also just happened.
But she's a different. They practice.
Yes, they practice, and she
doesn't.
Yeah, and she's she does not consider herself observant at all. She's actually a very anti-organized religion. So, and so there's a lot, and so in this space that Molly's in is all of this kind of cultural tension, which I think mirrors a lot of what is the kind of prototypical American Jew. One of the things that Molly has to confront living with this European Jewish family is how their perception of themselves in the culture is so different. And that in America, one of the luxuries about being an American Jew is that you aren't worried about a pogrom. We've had this kind of blanket of security that we've wrapped around ourselves. We know of anti-Semitism, but it is not woven in or has not been woven into the fabric of the culture so deeply that we could look back at hundreds of years of purges and expulsions and burnings and what have you. So it definitely changes our relationship to the play. And the questions that Molly is forced to confront through her association with these people is the core question of the play, right? Is are we safe? Are we safe here? How long can we stay here? And this is, I think, a question that Jews in America have only recently had to start asking themselves very seriously.
Since October 7th.
Well, I think, no. I think, honestly, since the Unite the Right rally is the first time I thought it, which is pre that. That is when I at least, growing up in this same time period, saw these forces, and I'm watching videos of people proudly proclaim on social media that Jews will not replace us, and the chants and the hatred, and then watching the next day in Charlottesville, the guy driving through crowds of Jews deliberately to murder them. And it had never occurred to me that this was contemporary. I mean, it's part of my naivete. I'm sure the French characters in the play would be like, Jeremy, what are you saying? Grow up. But I had just never thought of it as that so close. And I do remember watching that and thinking to myself, wow, I mean, it still seems a little far away, but not as far as it used to be. And I really thought to myself, if I lived in Charlottesville, would I feel safe? Like these people gathered up for this thing, and these people are not my nominal neighbors; they're the fellow members of my community. And how do you protect yourself against the world in which you move, right? And this is just a question that I had not seriously considered for myself. And so that was one of the things that really, really struck me. And then when I was talking to Josh about this, which was after the Tree of Life shooting, he talked about this story where he went to synagogue right the Sunday afterwards, and the rabbi was saying, "Listen, I'm not ready to speak about the Tree of Life, but you notice that we have now guards, and the only thing I think I can say is that this is a reminder that to be American and Jewish is to be white until you are not." And this really became this kind of organizing idea of the kind of tension of the play for me, is like, how do we come to terms with this idea, and what do we do? And I really do think it's the first time in a generation plus that anyone in this country is having to ask themselves that question. A question that has been asked multiple times by different minority groups in the U.S. This is not a new question for people in the U.S., right? This is the same question that Muslims were asking themselves after 9/11. It's the same exact conversation. It is the same question that Latinos and immigrants have to be asking right now.
Immigrants in general.
Immigrants in general, yes. It was
forever.
Latino immigrants, but yes, immigrants forever. But now specifically here, this is a question you have to really be thinking about and considering. And like, how do I protect myself? What do I do? Do I need to leave? Like, what do I do?
And where do you go?
And where can you go? Right.
This reminds me of the story I told during the first reading. There was a gentleman out in front of Beth Emmet on Dempster in Evanston with a sign that said the Jews own America.
Right.
Yeah, and he's protesting out in front of Beth Emmet. I've lived on that street since 1984. I've never seen that.
Yes. And the thing you have to ask yourself is, when that metastasizes into the broader culture, where you can no longer say, "Oh, this is just this random crank, this random freak."
No.
You're like, no, there's something moving here.
There is something moving.
And this is this, it is the same thing that obviously Black Americans have been dealing with for since they arrived. It is this impossible to kind of extract challenge. And so the question is, how do make decisions and protect yourself in the face of this? And this family does it with arguing, a fair amount of jokes, a fair amount of irony and debate, but they have to make an impossible decision. Do they give up everything, their home, their jobs, everything they know, and just go into the unknown, or do they stay and try to keep on to those things? And I honestly don't know what the right decision is. For them, they make a decision in this play, but is it the right one? I don't know. I don't think that Joshua knows. I don't think the point is that you can make the right decision. One of the things I thought about is, you see in the news, there's these mass migration movements where you see, especially, right now, a lot of it is climate-based, but, in France, thousands of Jews have been leaving France because of the recent unrests. And you think, oh, well, this is some sort of tidal wave of people. That they drift out of the country. But no, 8,000 people leaving France is 8,000 families making 8,000 individual decisions about this. And it is not part of a movement. It is intensely personal, and it's super individualized. Every one of these people does this for a different reason.
That's certainly evident in the play.
Yes, exactly. And watching them
and
struggle with
shifting.
that. Yes,
it's not just one decision.
No. Yes, and I really see the play as a story about a kind of family that is in a kind of crisis of anxiety because they do not know what to do. They cannot make a decision. All the roads are impossible. And in that, I think, this is where I think Joshua's compassion as a writer really comes through, because, it's about feeling for the impossibility of these choices that these people are being asked to make. These impossible currents they're being asked to navigate. Which neighborhoods can you live in? Where can you live that's safe? How do you feel safe? What do you do? When do you know if you've even done the right thing? How will you know if you made the right choice? You'll never know. You leave a country, maybe nothing happens. You stay, maybe nothing happens. What was the right choice? It's impossible to say. You have to feel it out. And this is a family of very intellectually and insanely smart people, because that is who Josh is and that is the characters he writes. And so they have to make a decision based on inchoate emotions that they are ill-equipped to just take as a magic signpost about what to do. They have to feel their way forwards in uncertainty, which I think we can all relate to.
Especially now.
Yeah. Every day I'm like, well, now I feel this about today.
Well, truly, I mean, as the play progresses, as that reading progressed, more and more lines popped out, which reflected, to me anyway, what's happening now, even though it was written for 2017, 2018, and the reaction to the audience is really going to be exciting. To hear their responses, because the play is amazingly protean. It draws its, I think, DNA. I have to say, when I watch the argumentation in the play, it draws a lot of its DNA, I think, from Awake and Sing.
Yeah.
And which we did years ago. And but look, everyone can relate to a family a family dramedy, and I think that's That's it, for no other reason. That's the reason to do the play now and here and now, I think.